I'm here today with Claire Dale, Director for Companies in Motion. Claire is a movement specialist and a leading expert in physical intelligence. She and her team train and coach individuals from board level to entry level to help them achieve their peak performance. Today, Claire is here to address specifically how physical intelligence can enhance our effectiveness both in our professional and personal lives. And I'm very excited to be here with Claire today. Welcome.
Thank you, Steph. It's great to be here.
Okay, Claire. Today, let's talk about team performance. Creating effective teams seems so much more challenging today than it used to be. Teams need to be collaborative, they need to be productive. Is there any way how physical intelligence can help us making teams more effective?
Yeah, I was reading a Harvard Business Review article the other day, and it was talking about how today teams are virtual, diverse, large, and composed of highly educated specialists. And that's because projects are complex. But actually it's those four characteristics of teams that also make it difficult for teams to get things done. So in terms of what we need for teamwork, trust and accountability, creativity, collaboration, optimism, and the absolute commitment to common goals. Physical intelligence helps teams to come together to build strength, flexibility, resilience, and endurance, and decide on the ground rules for the way that they're going to work together.
And how exactly would you then describe the winning cocktail in terms of physical intelligence that is needed to support the team effectiveness journey?
Well, teams need oxytocin. Oxytocin really bonds us together. It gives us a feeling of tribe. So that means that we're far stronger as teams in the face of external challenges. And also, when we think about rowing teams, for example, what we know is that actually if team members cap or slightly reduce testosterone levels, then they're more competitive as a team against other teams. So it's interesting that we have to monitor our testosterone levels and reduce our sense of pure independence to be able to collaborate and have good levels of oxytocin. Teams also need adrenaline, excitement and pace, and they need dopamine to be able to really commit to those shared common goals, see them, believe in them.
So Claire, as you just mentioned, productivity is a very important and increasing challenge in teams nowadays. They work remotely, there are more of them. Sometimes also we need to reduce teams to become more productive. How can physical intelligence help the productivity challenge?
Team members need to be able to be centered and strong and swim in their own lane fast. And they also need to be open and be able to engage in open communication at a fast pace collaboratively. And that means that they really need to understand each other's agendas as well. So the flexibility to go from, firing on all cylinders and swimming in your lane to collaborating really well is a skill. And so we help people by creating simulations and role plays that are designed for the organisation and get people to play out how they adapt those two factors. And those two factors are related to oxytocin, being able to communicate and collaborate well, and dopamine, being able to be motivated towards one's own goals.
Is there any other example you could quote to help illustrate the collaboration element?
Yeah. I think it's important that teams find their own metaphor for collaboration, and I think the collaborative element is where it gets really exciting in terms of team behaviour. So if you take a peloton, for example, a cycling peloton, you've got someone at the front who is taking the strain at that moment, and it means that others can have the same speed but for 30 or 40% less effort. And then that leader signals with the elbow, comes round to the side, tucks in at the back, and the next leader takes over. So it's a fantastic metaphor for teamwork. Then there's the rowing team that I mentioned earlier. Actually, you need to slightly sacrifice your stroke length in order to get that exquisite unison that makes the boat just, glide across the top of the water. And then my background is in dance and choreography. And a dance ensemble may be dancing different steps for a period of time, and then at a certain point in the musical, the score, they have to be at the right place at the right time to do the next sequence of high-risk throws and catches. So they've got to be there at the right place at the right time with a great awareness of each other's agendas and coming together. So teams need to find their metaphors, and that's what is exciting about bringing teams together. And we believe that teams should come together regularly, even large virtual remote teams, that commitment is really important, because actually you share the ground rules for collaboration.
So Claire, help me understand a little bit more deeply. When I have a team that is not just based in one location, but in several countries, and I, for instance, have a team meeting, and I would love to work with physical intelligence, does it actually make sense, or does everybody have to be, for this to be efficient and effective, in the same room?
Actually, technology is so superb these days that it doesn't matter if we have part of the team in one area of the globe or in 5 different areas of the globe. Actually, it's the fact that through technology we can practice some of the techniques together to come together on shared goals or work on the chemistry of optimism or determination as a team. And these things work just as well virtually.
You just mentioned again the importance of shared goals. Is there anything specifically that physical intelligence can do regarding?
Yeah, we've developed a suite of techniques that are about seeing the long game. They're about using the power of visualization. We've talked about dopamine as a really motivating chemical, and dopamine is very connected with the visual cortex of the brain. And so when we visualize, it means that we get a dopamine release and we are more motivated to move towards what it is that we're seeing. So if a team do that on common shared goals, so that every team member owns the goals, can visualize them, knows exactly what they mean for themselves and for others, then they're able to then create milestones and move towards those goals in a more competitive and collaborative way.
I find especially the examples you've taken from the world of sports very, very insightful, and it makes it really easy to see how physical intelligence can really help us become more collaborative, more decisive, and just more effective as a team. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Steph.